Hey guys, decided to get this thing out today for the first time. A real true ride on the CBR 1000 RR 2012 model. Just picked it up. You probably caught the video where I was on my way to get it and how excited I was. Now I haven't been able to ride this bike pretty much all week. It's been sitting in the storage unit and I've just been thinking about what it might be like to ride. I did a lot of research on the YouTube to see like what sort of video reviews were out about it. I mean, CBRs have always been great bikes, so I didn't have any doubts that it would be a bike that I could definitely get on, feel confident on, and ride and have a great time riding and really carve it up. But I didn't know how good this bike was, obviously, until I rode it. But all the reviews I saw on it, back from 2012 even up to 17 model year, and they hadn't changed it tremendously. They've done enough upgrades and gave it enough technology in the model year current to make it, you know, compete head to head, apples to everything else out there. Traction control, stability management, modes, and all that other gizmo stuff. This bike has none of that. This bike has no traction control, no wheelie control. It just has good looks and great build and handling and design and everything else that CBRs have always been synonymous with. Riding the bike, if I can sum it up, I'd say it's probably like every other CBR you've ever heard about times 12, because it started making this bike back in the early 90s. So I'm just going to say times 12 is about what you're getting with this 12 model year. It's great. I talked about my GSXR 750 being the best bike to take through the canyons. I stand corrected. This bike is as stable, as nimble, as agile as that bike. Part of that being because Honda made the frame, it made the fairing, it made the whole design of the bike so narrow and easy to control and fit around that it's like riding a 600 kind of. It goes in real easy into the corners, comes out of the corners like a rocket. And the thing is, you think about leader bikes having all that low and mid-range power, and after having a BMW S1000R, it kind of spoiled me in that category, because that bike I could take fifth gear, come through the canyons that I'm on today in fifth gear and maintain a steady pace, coming out of the corners, power out pretty hard. I could come out of the corners on that bike in fifth gear at about 60, 70 miles per hour and be as quick as something like a 600 coming out of the same corner in like a third gear probably. And using all the RPMs to get it to move. It was so linear, so direct. This bike, very similar, but you do need to use the gears. I noticed that they're a little longer or taller, if you will, but what they're able to do once you spin it up, oh my goodness. Third gear, I was able to use third gear. It's so long, third gear, and you never really reach redline on it. I mean, I was trying to reach redline in third gear at one straightaway, and it was like, by the time I shifted up, I was like, the road is up, and this thing is just like, it's something to really like take stock of and pay attention to at that point. But I was able to come out through third gear all the way through the hills and through the canyons, and you know, it pulls real hard. Very solid bike, very stable bike, very comfortable bike. Riding out here on the freeway, no fatigue. I didn't feel like there was a lot of stress or strain on my body, any parts particularly. Especially the wrist, where you think these bikes will give you the worst experience. Wasn't too bad. You sit a little further down into the bike, as you see the slope of the tank. You sit a little down further, and then the geometry, or the triangle, as they say, of the, you know, your seating position, the handlebars, clip-ons, and then your foot pegs is pretty good. You got a pretty good angle there where you're comfortable enough, where your back's not being taxed, your wrists aren't being worn out, you're not sore. My back's a little sore because I haven't ridden like this in a while. The RC is down. I'm working on fixing the tank on that, and nothing else is in the fleet right now. So this is the most new acquisition, but it's also really all I need in terms of an alternative sport bike. But as I said in the other video, man, that thing is just something to look at. This is a custom job. If you know the 2012 model year, it did not come in a color scheme like this. So somewhere down the owner line, someone took it upon themselves to make it a standout. I've been riding today. And everywhere I go, people are just looking at it like, that's a really vivid bike. The blue is spectacular on it. I wish I could tell you what the blue was. I just know it's pretty, so that's what I'm gonna call it. It's pretty blue, pun intended. But it's just such a metallic and bright and, you know, just eye-catching color scheme. I quite like it. It's been good so far. I'm trying to think of what I want to do. One of the things I thought was interesting is that it's not an SP model, so it doesn't have a quick shifter on it. But in looking down here, it appears that there might be something in here that is helping it shift a little smoother, even if you don't use the clutch engagement. So I haven't really been using the clutch much other than takeoff. Now, it's not a quick shifter or a blipper in which you can just, you know, go through the gears up without taking the load off. If I just lightly feather off the throttle, it'll completely allow the gears to come in smooth and quick. I'm not losing really any revs, and it just keeps going. Downshifting, I just step on it and down it goes. I'll do a little more research to see if there's something going on with it that someone else did, or if that's how Honda intended it to be, even without a quick shifter. But it does a real good job going through the gears. It makes it easy to do. Yeah, that's about all I can say at this point, man. It's been great. Fun bike. I'm liking it so far. First ride today, guys. And it's been a good one. Till next time, I will drive. Pieces.